he wrote Twilight of the Gods, or the Idols, I think, I can't remember. He wrote Thus Spake Zarathustra, where he tried to get a non-Semitic prophet. He chose he wrote it in verse. He chose a Persian prophet because that was what the scholars in the late 19th century were calling Indo-European civilization. So these were Indo-European languages, so he wanted to get Zoroastrian. I think nowadays people probably wouldn't want a Persian prophet, but he wanted to get a non-Semitic prophet, if you want to call it that, not Arab, not Jewish, not one of the other ones from the Middle East. He wanted to get an Aryan, if you like, prophet, somewhat of a disciple of Wagner and so on. So he put all of his ideas, like Plato did Socrates, into Zarathustra. It's pretty rambling, I think, pretty rubbishy stuff, but it still was very captivating to people at that time. And mostly it is celebrating the artist as the creator of meaning in life. The artist is the creator. And Joyce, James Joyce, if you know him in literature, he has a soliloquy at the end of Ulysses, where Molly Bloom, the character, is talking about all her sexual exploits. How many have read that book? Well, if you've ever taken a literature course, you would have read James Joyce. He's considered to be the greatest writer in the modern English language. So if you've never read James Joyce, I mean, you basically are showing that you are not extremely well read. Not that I think James Joyce is interesting necessarily to read, but some things you read just because you're supposed to. You're supposed to know these things if you're a civilized, cultured person. So, for instance, you know Darwin because you're supposed to know Darwin. You know Karl Marx because you're supposed to know Karl Marx. You know Whitman because you're supposed to know Whitman. Well, if you know Joyce because you're supposed to know Joyce. Or if you like James Baldwin or something, but Joyce is he's much more celebrated than someone like James Baldwin. So, if you want to read a simple Joyce, which is attractive and pleasant, read Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. That would be. But in that, he announces his Nietzschean purpose. He wants to create the uncreated conscience of his race. He's an Irishman. He's going abroad, exiling himself, and the final message there is to create. All this is Nietzschean stuff. So Lawrence is influenced by Nietzsche too. Nazism is influenced by Nietzsche in a negative way. I don't think that really represents him. He has another book called The Antichrist. He's the one who pronounced God is dead. People talk about the God is dead philosophy. That's all from Nietzsche. But he's a very influential person in the late 19th century. So at the end of Ulysses, Molly Bloom is saying, yes, 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 yes. He's affirming life. That's a big Nietzschean idea, to affirm life. Well, Lawrence is affirming life in this book, and he has a philosophy or a religion of life. Life, not death. This is from a man who is basically a dying man in the latter stages of tuberculosis. So, but yet he's so full of life that it's really astonishing. Anyway, so this fawn man whom he describes on page, I guess, is it your page 3 to 4, or is it your page 11 to 12? What is it in your book?
11 and 12.
11 and 12, okay, we'll stick to your 11, because I've had 3 different versions of this book, so they keep publishing new ones all the time. Anyway, he says he wouldn't survive the last war. What war does he mean? He'd be sure not to survive such a war. What is the war? The First World War. Why wouldn't you survive if you were someone of delicate sensibility, natural person? Because you're living in a trench and you're fighting bloodthirsty, horrifying, mechanical trench warfare for like year after year after year after year. Such a person can't survive in that kind of modern Holocaust, horrendous environment, in his view. that was the way he puts it. So he says they were all killed in the last war. He doesn't really mean they were all killed in the last war. Obviously, they weren't all killed in the last war. And obviously, such a person doesn't even exist. It only exists in his imagination as what he considers to be the perfect natural type of man. And Lawrence, unlike a lot of feminism today, is celebrating men. And manhood. Not manliness as such, but gorgeous men, beautiful men, sensitive men, vital, vibrant. So again, it's pretty unique, sure, pretty unique for a self-educated person from England. So again, we're in the realm of religious prophets.